Hi everybody, I'm Peter Kovar, Takoma Park Ward 1 City Council member. I'm running for re-election this fall. And in a normal year, I'd probably have some large outdoor campaign event to kick off the campaign. Here I am, sitting in my home office, wondering where everybody else is, and we're all just trying to get through an unusual kind of year. And so I appreciate people taking the time to look at the video. Before we get into the campaign related stuff, I'm just going to say I hope everybody is staying safe and healthy out there. And if you do have some problems connected to COVID-19, please feel free to be in touch with me, and I'm happy to try to help out in any way I can. Now, I was first elected in 2015, and I've been working for the last several years with many of you as neighbors, trying to improve the city and address the concerns that people have here in the community. Not everybody does know me though, and so I will say I moved here in 1992, and my family and I have lived on Holly Avenue since then. My kids went to the local schools, and before I got on the council, I was involved in a number of city committees and various municipal initiatives. And now that I am on the council, that's where my focus is, and my general approach on the council is first to see government as a force for positive movement and progress, in addition to be as accessible as I can be to my constituents and the people I represent. Third, to be respectful of opposing views, and also to try to find common ground on, this is an important one, to try to find common ground on tough issues so we can move forward productively in the city. So that's how I see the job of being on the council. And another key part of it, and that's why I'm doing this video, is communicating with people. So there's a lot of different ways to communicate these days, online, through the blog that I have, obviously meeting people in person and talking on the phone. These days, most of it's virtual, but I think that's a central component of being an elected official in a representative system like the one we have. Communication is vital. And one element of that communication that I also always emphasize is letting people know in advance how I'm going to vote on issues, and if I'm not sure, at least letting folks know here are the factors I'm going to think about before I decide on the key issues that come before us. Now, we talked about COVID already today. Obviously, that's one of the major challenges that we face, and this year I was pleased that I was able to play an important role in our budget work in ensuring that we set aside a good amount of funds to help residents and small businesses here in the city, and also I was one of the leaders in making sure that we put additional funds on hold, over $1 million, to also be available depending on how the pandemic evolves over time. Another crucial issue, and I think it's one that we'll be working on this fall, even before we get into the next council after the elections, is reimagining policing. We have to ensure that the systemic racism is addressed and that our black and brown neighbors are treated with dignity and with respect. And so I'm looking forward to hearing from them. I don't think a white guy living in Ward 1 should be deciding what should happen in terms of police reform. So I'm looking forward to hearing from others in the community. But ultimately, I think we want to continue to move away from the warrior model for officers and toward the guardian model, and I hope we'll continue to make progress on that. We have our racial equity policy, but there's a lot more work to do there. Some of the other key issues that I see and that I've been working on and hope to continue working on are managing development so that we do preserve the things that we like about the city even as change occurs, promoting inclusiveness so that everybody in the city can feel safe and also really able to participate in the life and the culture and the economy of our city, keeping the community affordable so that families of all backgrounds can afford to live here, and certainly continuing to make progress on climate change. And to me, an important aspect of that is not just what the city does, but how we do that in coordination with other levels of government. And then there's plenty of other matters that come up that are much more basic, and that's everything from potholes and small tree issues and pedestrian safety that are crucial to our quality of life here in the city. And I spend a lot of time working on those and talking to residents about those kinds of things as well. Now, you can read about all of that on my campaign website, and so I do want to talk a little bit about the campaign. The campaign website is Peter Kovar for City Council takoma.com. I think I picked the longest possible name for my website. And you can also look at my blog, which is councilmemberkovar.com. Both of those have a lot of information about the campaign. And we're also going to be doing events of various kinds. Now they're going to have to be virtual this time, given everything that's going on with COVID-19. But those will certainly be posted on the campaign website. And there will be additional information about how to host a virtual coffee if you want to, how to be a volunteer, how to endorse me, getting a yard sign, all those kinds of things. And again, it's Peter Kovar for citycouncil.com. And you can also call me directly, 202-492-4584, and I'm happy to talk. Now, Election Day is November 3rd. That's going to be different also because of COVID. So everybody who's a registered voter in Takoma Park will receive a ballot in the mail, and you can mail it back. But if you're concerned about the Postal Service, and who isn't these days, you could also drop it off. We will have drop-off sites available. And any ballot that's dropped off or postmarked by November 3rd, Election Day, will count for our local election. And I do want to remind people that here in the city, 16 and 17-year-olds can vote in our local elections for mayor and city council, and that also applies to non-U.S. citizens who are residents here. Now, for information on voting on Election Day, you can go to the website, you can call me, and there's also information there about the state ballot, which of course is separate from our mayoral and city council election. So I appreciate if you've stayed this long and listened to this video. I hope I'll see you over the next couple of months as the campaign unfolds. I think it's more likely that I'll see you virtually, but maybe we'll run into each other socially distanced as appropriate. I really look forward to having the opportunity to continue working together as neighbors to improve the city, and I'm asking for your vote. I hope you'll vote for me on Election Day. Thank you.